Good morning, everyone, and welcome along to Mission Mystery, our next week of wonder. Or should I say, good morning, detectives, and welcome to our investigation room. This is the launch of our Mission Mystery today, and we're going to be investigating all sorts of unsolved mysteries throughout the week ahead. So that leads to my first question. Is there a mystery that you'd like to solve? Have you heard about an unsolved mystery that you think perhaps that is definitely something worth investigating? Well, have a think about that while we do a few shout outs. Who is joining us here today? We've got Marie and Joe and Aurora, Willow and Caden, Ezra, Willow Rose and Eliza. Jaden's here, good morning, and Noah and Theo are really looking forward to this week. Me too, Noah and Theo. I can't wait to dive into an investigation. Good morning, Ebony and Malcolm and Matthew. Hello to Caleb. Joe is interested in investigating the Bermuda Triangle. Great choice, Joe. Is that going to be the first one that you investigate? Hi to Mia and Maeve and Quinn, Detective Quinn and Tuesday here. Oh, lovely. Hello, Arthur and Jake. Hello, Cora, Lucas. Lots of us joining live this morning. Oh, fantastic to see you all popping up in the chat. Willow wants to know the truth about ghosts. Oh, Willow. Well, I reckon there might be a couple of mysteries you could investigate there, definitely. What else? Have we got any other mysteries to investigate? Let's have a look. Detectives Dexter and Daisy are here, reporting for duty. Hello, you two. Good morning, Callie. Hello to Teddy. Hi, Lucas. Oh, fantastic to see you all along. And Isabel and Thomas, your last day in Tenerife, but you're here, tuned in, ready for a mystery. I love it. Fantastic. The mystery of the missing biscuits. That sounds intriguing. Atlas, you're here in plenty of time. Don't you worry. Shall we get started, everybody? Right. Well, we've got a whole host of different mysteries in store this week for us to explore. We're using our CSI resource packs this week. Now, you can grab those in the link below this video if you're watching on YouTube, above it if you're on Facebook, in the blurb attached to this video. That's where you'll find the link to not just the resource packs, but lots of accompanying resources to expand each mystery and make it into a nice project. And it's totally up to you how many you investigate. You might get totally into one mystery, and that might take you a couple of days, the whole week even, or you might think, I want to look at into all of these and investigate lots of them. Some parents more suitable for younger children, perhaps some for older. You'll see as we go through. So shall we start by kicking things off and finding out just what these mysteries are? Right, let's take a little look, shall we?
To Mission Mystery, where we'll dive into the strangest, creepiest and most puzzling stories from around the world, from monsters in deep lakes to ships that vanish without a trace. We're here to investigate, so grab your magnifying glass, pack your notebook and let's explore 5 strange phenomena that have left people puzzled for centuries. Case File 1, the Loch Ness Monster. Our first stop is Loch Ness in Scotland. Locals say a creature lives in this dark, deep lake. They call it Nessie. Some say she's a giant sea serpent. Others think it's just a trick of the water. But people have claimed to see her for nearly 100 years. And some even have blurry photos to prove it. But is Nessie real? It's up to you to examine the evidence. Case File 2, the Bermuda Triangle. Next up, we head into the Bermuda Triangle, sometimes known as the Devil's Triangle. Planes and ships have disappeared here without a trace. Could it be storms, magnetic fields, sea monsters, or even aliens? We'll look at reports from pilots, scientists, and weather experts to uncover what might really be happening in this mysterious part of the ocean. Case File 3, the Pendle Witch Trials. Now we travel back in time to 1612 in a place called Pendle Hill, England. 12 people, mostly women, were accused of being witches. But were they really casting spells? Or were they just misunderstood? We'll investigate the real stories that led to the famous Pendle Witch Trials and how fear and superstition played a big role in the mystery. Case File 4, Crop Circles. Suddenly, out of nowhere, strange patterns appear in crop fields. Perfect circles, weird shapes. Some say they're messages from aliens, but what do you think? Could humans really make these complex designs overnight, in the dark, without anyone seeing? We'll dive into how crop circles are made and who or what might really be behind them. Case File 5, the Mary Celeste. Last up, the ghost ship, the Mary Celeste. In 1872, a crew set sail across the Atlantic, but a few weeks later, the ship was found completely empty. No people, no signs of a fight, food still on the table. Where did the crew go? Pirates? Sea monsters? A mutiny? Let's dig into the ship's logbook and the clues that were left behind. So that's a lot of mysteries to solve. But remember, every mystery leaves behind clues. Some of these stories might have logical explanations. Some might stay unexplained forever. But it's up to you to decide.
And it really is up to you, detectives, to take on this mission. Now, do any of those grab you instantly? Is there one of those that you think, that's the one I'm going to investigate first? We had 5 different mysteries there. The Loch Ness Monster. What do you think about that? Do you think there really is something living in Loch Ness? What could it be? Or is it just people playing tricks? Is it just them wanting to see something and actually there's nothing there? What do you think? What about the crop circles? How do you think those are formed? Formed overnight. Some of them are really detailed. That's definitely going to take some closer investigation. And then there's the Bermuda Triangle. Some sailors and pirates too scared to even go into that area for fear of never coming out again. What do you think? What could be the cause of those shipwrecks? And what else have we got? We've got the Pendle Witch Trials. That's going to take a closer and needs much more investigation, isn't it? We need to find out who these women were. Why were they accused? Who was doing the accusing? And then we've got the Mary Celeste, the ghost ship, a ship left completely abandoned, but no sign of a battle or anything destroyed. What on earth could have happened? What do you think? Some of you are struggling to pick one. There's too many. Well, go for one and then just start your journey there. And the good thing about this is you can work through all 5. While we're zooming and focusing in on this for this week, you can continue your investigations. Right, Jake and Arthur, you're set on Loch Ness, but Mummy's going to tackle the Bermuda Triangle. Oh, fantastic. You'll have to keep us posted on what you discover. Ollie and Edward are excited to explore the Mary Celeste. Brilliant. Joe is thinking about the witch trials and the Bermuda Triangle, maybe Loch Ness as well. And Olivia is going for crop circles. She wants to solve that mystery. Eliza and Elodie want to investigate aliens. So could it be the aliens that made the crop circles? Well, Eliza and Elodie, you're going to have to draw your own conclusions there and examine the evidence closely. Fantastic. Let's have a look. Any others? Olivia's going for crop circles. Tiana thinks Loch Ness Monsters. They do all look exciting, don't they? Well, let's have a little look, shall we, first, about where in the world these mysteries happened. Let's have a look and see if we can pinpoint them on our map. So we've got our 5 mysteries there down the side. The Loch Ness Monster, the Pendle Witch Trials, crop circles, the Mary Celeste, and the Bermuda Triangle. Are there any of those that you know, yes, I know where this mystery happened, or I could have a guess at the area? See if you can point to the place on the map where you think they happened. And I'll give you a clue here. 3 of these mysteries are very close to home. If you're watching in the UK. So have a little think about that, but can we pinpoint it down? Let's have a little look. I'm going to have a look through these. We're still putting our favourite mysteries in the chat. So while you're doing that, let's see. Tuesday is set on Nessie. Quinn is going to solve the Mary Celeste. Brilliant. What a team you're going to be. There's going to be a lot of investigations in your house. Now, Ezra's grandma used to live near Loch Ness, used to fish there. Oh, well, you could get some first-hand accounts. Has grandma ever seen anything suspicious? Jacob's going to go for the Mary Celeste. And Eliza and Elodie, Loch Ness. You think Loch Ness is in Scotland? I think you're right, you two. Shall we see then? Let's pop some arrows onto this map. Where do you think these different places are? There we go. So this is roughly, and we can see just how close Loch Ness, the Loch Ness Monster, the Pendle Witch Trials, and the crop circles are together. So we'll have a closer look at those in a moment. The Mary Celeste there, not too far off the coast of Portugal, is where it was discovered. And then the Bermuda Triangle is there just below Florida on the west of the Atlantic. Let's have a look then. The Bermuda Triangle there, we've got a closer zoomed in image there of where the Bermuda Triangle is believed to be. So why here? Why this place, do you think? Lots of questions to ask. What is it about that makes the sea potentially dangerous? Or do you think there's something else going on there? Then we've got the Mary Celeste. There's an activity, this is the activity from one of the resource packs actually, where you can map the journey of the Mary Celeste. So circled in red there, I've marked where it was discovered, but you can see that little timeline there. You can stick onto the map at the different points on the Mary Celeste journey. So where it was built, where it set off from, where it was headed to, where it was discovered. And then we've got our ones that are all really quite close together. Where would you put your dots? We've got the Loch Ness Monster, the purple dot, the Pendle Witch Trials is the red dot, and crop circles is the orange dot. So where would you put these? One is in Inverness. And a couple of you said we think that that's in Scotland. The Pendle Witch Trials in Lancashire. And then crop circles, while they have appeared in quite a few different counties, the majority of sightings of these has been in Wiltshire, the county of Wiltshire. But do you know where that is on the map? Maybe you live in one of these counties or nearby. Can you pinpoint it? Where would you stick your dot? Have a little go at that. Let's see, where are we going to go for? Have you decided? Inverness, Lancashire and Wiltshire. Where are we going for on the map? Oh, Tiana, you live near Wiltshire, so you should be able to pinpoint this on the map. Can you just point to where you think it is? Let's have a look. Have we decided where we're going to put those dots? Let's have a look where they are. There we go. So roughly, the dots are a bit big, but roughly this is where those mysteries occurred. So that's where we're heading around the UK. Right then, I think we should dive in to a couple of these mysteries, and I've got an activity for us to have a go at now. We're going to think about what happened next. So we're going to see some events, some stories, some evidence taken from some of these mysteries. And I want you to tell me what you think happened next. I'm going to give you some options. And we start in Loch Ness. So this is an account from two people, Mr. and Mrs. Spicer. In the early evening, Mr. and Mrs. Spicer were driving along the east coast of Loch Ness between Doris and Foyers when suddenly, so early evening, they're driving along when suddenly one of these three things happened. But which one do you think? Was it number one? A creature crossed the road in front of them. They described it as being like a snail with a long neck. It had no visible legs or arms and was 8 meters in length. Or was it number two? A huge wave crashed over the road in front of them and they heard a loud, high-pitched screech. Or was it number three? They saw a small rowing boat near the shore suddenly get dragged out into the loch and watched as it disappeared under the water. Which one of those events do you think happened to Mr. and Mrs. Spicer? What do you think? This was their real account of what they saw. What do you think they said that they saw? What are we going with? Right, Edward says number two, Ollie says three, and Eliza and Elodie, you agree number three. We think the boat being dragged into the water. Ezra's going with number two. So Ezra and Edward, you both think it was the wave and the high-pitched screech. Anyone think number one? Yeah, a couple of you are saying number one. I think the majority of the votes are for number two or three so far. Which one do you think? Was it the strange snail-like creature with a long neck? Was it the huge wave and the loud screech? Or was it the rowing boat suddenly being dragged into the water? Theo thinks one, Noah thinks two. Shall we find out? Well, their account of what happened that evening was actually number one. They believed they saw a creature cross the road in front of them, described it as being like a snail with a long neck. Wow, well, this is one of the events that's in your resource pack. There's lots more stories for you to look at about people's possible sightings of something mysterious around Loch Ness. So it's up to you to look at them and decide which ones you think are reliable evidence, which ones you think you need to know more evidence about. Right, let's try another, shall we? Right, and this time we're out at sea. In March 1918, the biggest ship in the US Navy, a coal carrier called USS Cyclops, set sail from Barbados to Baltimore. The weather was fair and the ship had a crew of 309 sailors. The first radio message sent by the ship out of port confirmed that all was well. But then, right, so what happened next, do you think? So this is a question relating to the Bermuda Triangle, isn't it? So we've got the ship leaving port, first radio message came through, all is fine. But what happened next? Let's see our options, shall we? Is it number one? The second radio message was a series of strange sounds, which sounded almost like music. Shouts for help could also be heard. A week later, the shipwreck of the USS Cyclops was discovered. Do you think it was that? Or was it number two? The ship arrived in its destination, but 11 months later. The crew believed it had only taken them a couple of weeks and could not explain why it had actually taken them almost a year. Well, that sounds very mysterious, doesn't it? What do you think? Where had they been for a year? And the crew thought it had only taken a couple of weeks, but actually 11 months had passed. I'm not sure. Or was it number 3? The Cyclops disappeared without a trace. No distress call was received, and the vessel did not respond to messages sent by other boats. Despite a huge search operation, no trace of either the boat or the crew was ever found. What do you think? Is it number 1? Is it number 2? Or number 3? What do you think? What do you reckon? Let's have a little look in the chat. What have we got? So we've got lots of you are thinking it's number 3, that it just vanished without a trace. But a couple of you think it could be number 1, the strange sounds, the kind of music sounds, and then some shouts for help. What do you think? Oh, it is a little scary, isn't it, Eve? Yeah. Don't worry, we're all together. Right, what are we going with? Majority are saying 3. Should we see if we got it right? It was number 3. Vanished without a trace. Right, let's have a look at another, shall we? Okay, we've got one more event, one more story. Right. US biophysicist Dr. William Levengood studied soil and plant samples from inside and outside crop circle formations. The question is, what did he discover? So this one's about the crop circles that appear overnight in fields. And this US biophysicist did these investigations, and he looked at the soil and the plants inside the crop circles where the plants had been flattened, and he investigated the samples outside of the circle. What do you think he discovered? Let's have a look at our options. Did he discover, number 1, he found that the inside of the crop stalks contained in the circles a strange green sticky substance with a similar texture to honey. When tested, the substance was discovered to be highly flammable. My goodness, do you think that might be true? Is that what he discovered? A sticky green substance with a texture similar to honey, a flammable substance. That was what was in the crop stalks that had been flattened. Or was it 2? He found that plant stalks in crop circles were swollen with much more water than those outside the circle. Also, the damaged seeds from the plants inside the circle grew faster due to increased electromagnetic energy. Well, what could have caused that? Or was it number 3? He found that the soil inside the crop circle contained a larger than average population of worms. Not only this, but the worms on average were 30% larger than worms in the soil outside the crop circle. So it's like the worms were supersized and multiplied by the crop circle formation. Could that possibly be true? What did he discover? What are we going with here? These are good, aren't they? I have to say, I did quite have a lot of fun making up the false ones, guys. Let's see if you can spot which one was discovered in the investigations. So we're a mixed bag again. We've got a lot of 2s and 3s. Edward thinks 3. Ezra thinks 1. Maeve thinks 3. Vincent doesn't believe any of it. I love it, Vincent. What do you think? Noah is with 1. Theo is with 3. It is a difficult one, this one, isn't it? Atlas, you're set on 1, are you? Shall we find out? It was number 2. I have to admit, I did make the others up. But he did find that the crop stalks were swollen. They had more water in. And then the damaged seeds that were within that circle, they grew faster. What about that electromagnetic energy? That's going to take more investigation, isn't it? Well done, everyone. Oh, that was great. Well, some of these we're believing, some of these we may be questioning. So it's time for the Truthometer and to see where on our Truthometer we're going to rank these different events. Let's have a look. Right, we've got the first one coming up here, and it's a little bit small, so don't worry, I'm going to read it to you. This one is about extraterrestrial activity. So we're back on crop circles for this one. Some researchers believe crop circles to be messages from intelligent extraterrestrial life. People who agree with this theory say that the circles are either the imprint left by spaceships that have landed on Earth or alien messages sent to Earth from afar. Some claim to have seen balls of light from UFOs and heard strange noises emanating from crop circle sites. Even though crop circles are constructed in a very short time span, so usually overnight, the level of precision and accuracy in the shapes is seen as evidence that aliens must be very intelligent and more advanced than we are. Are they communicating with us using the universal language of mathematics? What do you think? So this card is an example of one of the theory cards, and you'll find these in the pack. So you'll have event cards of things that have happened, and you'll have theory cards. And these theories are possible ideas to explain why these mysteries have occurred. So this is a theory, an idea that tries to make sense of why crop circles happen. But on the Truthometer, where are we going to place this theory? Do you think it's aliens causing crop circles? Are you going to move this way up the Truthometer, or are you going to move this way and say, no, that's rubbish, it's false? What do you think? Oh, and I'm loving the answers because we've got some at number 10 and we've got some down at number 2. So a lot of you are a bit in the middle. And I reckon if you're in the middle, that needs more investigation then, doesn't it? Who are these people that are saying these claims? What are they basing it on? What do these photos look like that people claim to have taken? So we need to investigate these claims and these theories further. Olivia, you're 10, defo true. You think it was aliens. Open to the idea of aliens, Noah and Theo. But yeah, so you're going to investigate further. But your mummy thinks 10. She's set on that idea. So you totally believe this theory. But then others of you are down at like number 3, number 2, don't believe that it's aliens. What do you think? Oh, well spotted. How have I managed that? I've missed the number 9. Thank you for spotting that. Okay, well, you've got to do a bit of a jump from 8 to 9. Right, let's have a look at the next one. Okay, so this one, we're going to have a look at the Pendle Witch Trials. So these were the people that were accused of being witches in Pendle. So superstition, people being superstitious, that played a big part in it. Superstition played a significant role in the Pendle Witch Trials. Pendle's residents, as well as many other communities across England, held strong beliefs in the supernatural that influenced their perception of the events. Witchcraft was often blamed for things like unexplained illness, deaths, or crop failures. Local folklore about witches and their powers created fertile ground for accusations. The persistence of these beliefs, despite the efforts of the church to eradicate them, shows how deeply embedded superstition and fear of the unknown was in everyday life, leading to the readiness to believe in accusations of witchcraft. So what do you think about this theory that actually it was people's superstitions, their belief of the supernatural that's what led to them accusing these women. And they wanted a way to explain when things had gone wrong. For example, when there was a drought and the crops failed. They wanted an explanation. They wanted a reason. And they wanted someone to blame. So do you think that led to them believing that women were casting spells? They wanted to explain why people would become ill. And again, they wanted to think it was because of a supernatural power that these people possessed. What do you think? Was superstition really important? So we're leaning up now this way, more towards the top end. We think it's true. We think that because of their superstition, that played a big role in accusing these women. Or do you think, no, it's not got anything to do with their superstition? There were other reasons why they were accused. So there's a lot of investigating to be done with this one, with Pendle Witch Trials. And this one is perhaps a good one for older learners, we would suggest, but obviously it's open to it. Anyone, pick which one grabs your attention, but we'd suggest that the content and the wording within this one generally aimed at older learners, parents. Just a thought for you guys. Right then, let's have a look at another theory. And we're joining the Mary Celeste again. Now, for this last theory card, let's have a look at this. Supernatural forces, right? So a theory about supernatural forces being the reason why the Mary Celeste was found abandoned with no one aboard. Since she was first built, many people involved with the Mary Celeste have been very unlucky. Her first captain, Robert McKellen, had died almost as soon as he boarded the ship. He was a young man who had only just been married, so it was highly unusual. The ship had already been wrecked once before the voyage to Italy, and numerous owners had struggled with bankruptcy. The Mary Celeste was also developing a reputation for being cursed. Even prior to the mysterious disappearance of the Briggs family and their crew, who were aboard it when it was discovered empty, there were not many clues to prove what happened to them in support of more logical explanations. Perhaps bad luck did follow the ship, and ghostly forces were indeed at work. What do you think? So do you believe in bad luck? That's basically what this theory is questioning. Do you believe in a cursed ship, that it was always going to happen because it was an unlucky ship? What do you think? Are we thinking true? Are we leaning towards false? Which way are we going with this? Quite a few of you up the higher end. We think, yes, it perhaps was a cursed ship. That bad luck was always going to happen. But some of you, Callie, is down the other end, for example. You think, number one, no, it's not. You don't believe that it was down to luck or some sort of curse or a supernatural force. It's very mysterious, isn't it, Noah and Theo? You're at 10 and 7. You're up that end. Let's have a look at our last one. Right, we've got the Loch Ness here. So this is a theory about what is actually in Loch Ness. So one theory is that Nessie is an unusually large native fish, such as an eel or a sturgeon. The DNA survey of Loch Ness revealed that it's home to a large number of eels. Divers in the loch have reported seeing eels as thick as their thigh. Well, that's a pretty big eel. I think that would make me jump if I was diving in Loch Ness. An 18-foot eel was also found in the water supply pipe of a power station on the banks of the loch. So a huge, long 18-foot eel, well, that is huge, had gone into the water pipe. Likewise, sturgeon fish with long, scaly backs have been caught by fishermen in rivers that feed into Loch Ness. So many people, such as marine biologists and Loch Ness expert Adrian Shine, have said they believe that a large sturgeon could be behind some of the sightings of Nessie. So this theory is kind of a much more reasonable theory. It's much more based on, I suppose they're basing it on factual evidence. They know that there are eels in the loch. They know that some of them, because they've seen them when they've dived down, are incredibly large. They found a long eel in the water pipe. The biologist Adrian Shine, he has studied the sturgeon fish and believes that that's what people are seeing when they see something large moving through the water. But what do you think? Ezra is in agreement here with this theory. You think it is a type of eel or sturgeon. Mum believes it, that's what's in the loch. Leaf thinks the same as well. Theo says maybe aliens. Whoa! Maybe aliens used a grow ray on the sturgeon fish. What a theory, Theo. Eliza and Elodie, you're 10 out of 10 for this one. You're right up to that true end. Well done, guys. We're doing some serious thinking here about these theories. None of us are right down at the false, I don't think. So we think this could be a possibility. But remember, these theory cards that I've shown you, that's just a few of the theories that exist around the reasons for these mysteries. So we've looked at just a few for each one. There are lots of other theories about Loch Ness and what it could be. There are lots of other theories about what happened to the Mary Celeste. So you need to do your investigating, dive into those packs, get all the theory cards laid out, and you can work them out. A good activity to do is to put them in order. Which ones do you really believe? And then which ones do you definitely not? So make your own truthometer, or put them into piles of, I don't believe that, I might believe that, I want to find out more about that. Have a think about how you're going to work with these theory cards. Right then, and talking of that, let's go into the skill zone and have a quick think about the type of skills we're going to be using through our investigation. We're going to need to use critical thinking. So many mysterious stories are full of myths, legends, and wild claims. We need to question what information and look for the proof. So it's about maybe not believing a story without there being proof to back it up. So for example, I took this photo of the Loch Ness Monster. Well, do we straight away believe that? Could it be a fake? How could someone have faked that? So it's asking those how. Why did they do it? When did they do it? Who else was involved? Was anyone else there when they took the photo? Thinking about how valid is that evidence. And that's where our critical thinking skills will be coming into play. Then we've got our research skills. Mysteries often have different versions of the same story. Good researchers use resources, books, websites, interviews, historical records to find that information and to double check the facts. And the good thing is we've collated lots of that for you into the resource pack. So it's got everything you need. But you may want to take your investigation further and do some online searching, look into some books, see if you can find any interviews or accounts or other photos. Can you think of any other things that you could research or anything that you're going to go out and search for? What do you think needs more evidence? You might be wanting to try and look at some of those photos of the Loch Ness Monster, for example. Or you might think, I'm going to investigate some crop circle photos, see if I can see any similarities or differences. Maybe you think we need proof for the picture. Yeah, we need proof. It could be AI generated. That's a good point. Look at when that photo was claimed to be taken as well. Did AI exist back then? How else could it have been faked? There's all sorts of questions, isn't there? So for our research skills, we're going to double check those facts. Compare 3 stories, for example, about the Bermuda Triangle. See what they have in common. And then do the same with photos, like we said about the crop circles. Look at 3 different photos. Are there similarities? Understanding what life, for stories like the Pendle Witch Trials, we need to research how people in the 1600s viewed things. So we talked about superstition being a big part of their life, believing in magic and the supernatural, but also religion. What role did that play? What was their view of women? It was mostly women that were accused. Why do you think that was? Lots of questions to be asked. And we're going to need to do some questioning. Good investigators start with good questions. So what happened is a start, but what else could you ask? Can you think of another question you could ask? It might be relating to a particular mystery, or you might be able to think of just a general question. For example, when was this evidence gathered? Or who took that photograph? So thinking about questions like that. Yes, Ezra, where, what, how, when, all those questions, really important. Questions that start with more than just what happened. Any other thoughts on questions? Let's have a look at a couple. Why do people believe this? That's a good question to ask. And we could relate that to any of the mysteries, couldn't we? Why do people believe the Bermuda Triangle exists? How else could this be explained? That's a good one. So for something like the crops, there was a drought during one year before the Pendle Witch Trials. There was a drought. And people blamed these women, saying, it's you, you've put a curse on our crops. But what else could have explained that drought and those crops to fail? How else could it be explained? And who found this evidence? Do we believe that story of Mr. and Mrs. Spicer driving past Loch Ness in the early evening? Who found that evidence? And was there any other evidence or accounts that are similar? So many questions. And lastly, creativity and imagination. And we mustn't forget these skills in anything that we're doing. Explore different possibilities. Imagine how things could have happened. Our imagination is a very powerful thing, and it plays a big part in these mysteries. Sometimes we have to think like detectives, imagining different scenarios or even recreating events to test out our ideas. What if the crop circles were made as a prank? How would somebody do it without being seen, without being caught? How would that happen? Use your imagination and play out that scene. Well, they'd have to wait till it was very dark. They'd have to have lookouts to check that no one saw them. And how would they physically create the crop circle? Lots of questions to investigate, but don't forget your imagination plays a big role in this. Right then, everybody. Well, the last thing to do is to pick your first investigation. It's time to begin. Which one will it be? Loch Ness, crop circles, the Bermuda Triangle, the Pendle Witch Trials, or the Mary Celeste? Let's have a little sneak peek at what you can expect to find in the resource packs. So you'll always get an introduction. They look a bit different, but this will introduce you to the mystery. It'll guide you into the investigation. It'll give you the what happened, an overview of the events. You'll also find in each pack a timeline, and these vary. Some of them you can fill in yourselves. Others of them, you can have a pre-printed one and you can piece that together. It's a good idea to display that above where you're doing your investigation so you can refer back to it. Then you've got your event cards. So we looked at a couple of these earlier, particular events that happened around that mystery, more detailed information from what's on the timeline. So these kind of work alongside your timeline, really. And then we've got our fact cards. We didn't really look at many of these today, but these will help you understand the original sources of information regarding the facts of the case. So it's not the theories, it's not the ideas of, I think it could be aliens or I think it could be ghosts. It's the facts. What actual facts exist about that mystery or that case? And then we've got our theory cards. And these cards link the facts with the evidence that supports or contradicts them. And you can decide which theory or theories you support. And you can even have a debate or a discussion, or set up your own courtroom at home, and you can each put your theory forwards and use it with the evidence to back up why you believe that theory. And then at the end of each pack, you'll find the final report. There's lots of different layouts for this. There's things like tick boxes with little gaps to put things, right through to full written reports. You can pick which level you want to do. This summarises all your conclusions you've reached. And there's lots of those templates for you. Explain your theory and support it with your facts and your evidence. And that brings us to the end of our launch session. Oh, I've loved diving in to these mysteries with you today. And the good news is we're going to meet back here on Wednesday at 11 a.m. Come back to the investigation room and let me know how you've been getting on. We're going to do a few more activities based on those mysteries. And by then, you might have discovered even more. So I can't wait to see what you've been up to. Have a brilliant start to our Week of Wonder Mission Mystery. And I'll see you all again on Wednesday. Thanks for joining me. See you soon, everyone. And good luck, detectives.